Thank you, Lisa. All right, Georgina, and I'll let people in if they show up along the way.
Okay, so the meditation today is partly a meditation and partly an exploration. It might be between 20 and 30 minutes long. We see how it goes. I will sense what I feel and see if you guys are flowing with the field or if whatever takes place. Let's see. But welcome and thank you for this opportunity. And the purpose is I see you seeing me. And that is taken by, I think it's Thomas Subol who uses often this sentence, I see you seeing me. So this meditation takes place with eyes open, and it's about connecting to the heart. But primarily, I'm inviting you to arrive at home in your senses. So I'm inviting you to have possibly also pen and paper that you might like to note down a sentence or a word that come to your mind as we process these 20 minutes together. And so we take a couple of breaths just to say, I'm here. And what I like you to do, I want you to name 5 things that you see within your space or within the space of one another here on the screen. And you just count them, 5 things, through the fingers of one of your hands. Then as you have noticed your 5 things, I want you to touch 4 things. So just really see, you might want to touch your glasses, your jumper, your chair, your table, your book. Just touch 4 things within your environment. If we're done, I'm inviting you to hear 3 words that come to mind right now. As you might have come to those 3 words, I'm inviting you to taste 2 flavors of food that comes to mind to you now. And one, and final, bring back the smell of a pleasant memory. Now, you're invited to scan the part of the body that are in contact with a grounding surface. So it's probably your feet and your sitting bone, or your pelvis. It might be. Just notice. I'm inviting you to scan your vertical plane. In reference to your vertical plane, I mean your spine, your back, And just gently notice the head softly and poised on top of your spine. Just to stay with that sensation, that image. And notice, how does it feel arriving home within your space, within your physical structure? Next, with your eyes open if possible, and if you feel comfortable with it, we're going to place your right hand to your left side of it, to your heart, basically. And I'm inviting you to really stay with your eyes open and to look at one another. And silently, we let each other know how we are feeling. So we're going to do this process for about 3 minutes. And so you go from person to person, look at them in their eyes, and just let them know how you're truly feeling right now in this moment. So for Krisanna, who is just arriving in this moment, we're just connecting through our heart. So you take a minute to connect through yourself, and then with your eyes open, you are allowing yourself to feel into the places within your heart and silently let others know how you're feeling by looking at them. So we just gently communicate to each other what is in our heart in this moment right now. And let's stay open. And possibly, if it's right, we can ask, please see me, please hear me, but quietly within our heart. Now we can let our hand release and stay with the heart open. But now we are just swapping around and continuously in this silence, we look at each other and we are listening to each other's story. We are listening to each other's feeling as we are gazing each other. And we possibly, as we go through each person and we stay connected with the heart, we can just say, I see you and I hear you. I hear your story. I feel with you. And you just might want to have about half a minute to just notice their environment and see if there is a word that come to mind for you from each one of their environment. And you might just bring it into either your awareness or to your paper. So next, I'm asking you a question, but it's just a thought of a question, and you might take it as it sounds to you. What if we could create what we truly want right now? Remembering that what we truly want us back. So just what would it look like? What would it feel like to know that what we truly want us back? And stay with that sensation of wanting and being wanted back. What does it feel like? What does it tell us? And just observe if within this field and within the environment of each other, there is something that flirts with you, something that you might have encountered before. And just to stay present with this idea that what is it that is attracting you from this field, from this environment that we are together here right now. And notice if it flirts with you of what you feel or see, it is something that you might have encountered before. And also notice that idea from past time matters in this present moment. If they're coming to mind, it means they matter. They might have been from another time, from another space. The invitation is to also for Stephanie, who has just joined us. We have connected from the heart with eyes open towards each other's presence, towards each other's environment. And the idea is that at the moment we are noticing what flirts with us from the field. Let's see that if this flirt, this invitation of something that attracts us is something that we have encountered before. It might have been an idea that we have met before in the past, and if so, it matters right now in this moment. It might be an idea that came from other places. But so we stay and just observe it and notice it if it flirts with us still. Next, I want us to paint a picture of greatness in a vision of the future as being here. And how would we know that we have arrived with the greatness of this vision? So I say again, it's like if we could maybe in different words for those who might find a difficulty with my language, but it's finding that we have a picture of the greatness of the vision of our future. And as we have that picture that hopefully is tangible, how do we know that it is really it? That it is as we wish it, as we want it, as we know it wants us back. Next, with your eyes open, if you have arrived with this sense of knowing that your vision is here, that it has arrived, look around and see if there is anything or something that you feel you might have missed. And if a word of something that might have been missing come to mind, just note it down. So, and then see if there is a wow factor within what we have missed. Like I know I just missed something, and it just came to me, and so that's like, wow, how did I miss that? But let's just see if this wow factor, which at times might define an emotion that we feel in response to something that was quite mysterious, and that's why we missed it, or something that might challenge our current way of understanding how things work right now. So let's just see if we, in this wow factor, we might cross into a way of being then that ends one way and begins into another. So we kind of trust all of the possibility of shape-shifting our attention. So we trust all possibilities of, wow, let's find what is the rhythm of the movement. And in this course of what took place, we notice that something is happening, even if we cannot see it yet. And I'm just inviting us really into the circle again to take one last couple of breaths together. And I thank you and bow to you all, and I'm gratitude for this privilege of having had this space. Thank you.
Thank you, Georgina. Thank you all.
I feel prone to invite anyone to bring in any feeling, sensation of vulnerability that this might have awakened. Thank you. And you're welcome.
I had this image of if I don't know if you know this this field of aspen trees. Um, the field of aspen trees is actually considered to be one of the largest organisms on Earth, because while they look to be individual trees, they're just really one community, one holistic group of trees that communicate in essence, one. So that was sort of the image that came to mind for me as we were doing um, the meditation. Let's see if I can stop sharing. Sorry.
Just playing off this, Robert. I have some aspens back here, and I know that about if you want the community of aspens to get more and more aspens, you cut them way down. So you send the energy to the future. You cut them low, and then they repopulate like tenfold.
Hmm. Hmm.
So I had this image, what I was flirting with, what I wanted was radiance, this light to shine through me. And I connected, which I went and got, I connected to this picture of myself as a 4-year-old. Yeah, this like, hello world. That certainly did not stay because of things that happened. But I had this image. I recently went to a funeral of a childhood friend's mother who lived to be 93. And she had 5 children, and she came from a family of 4, and her parents had 9. So there were all of these children, and she was the matriarch. And I had this image. Now I just had 2 kids, and my daughter won't have children, but I had this image of wanting to be this matriarch, and that the grandchildren would be free and have that spark and this sense of, what I didn't leave space for was the mystery that their paths will be. So there was this magic that's unseen, this sense of what's not yet seen, but in the soil, you know, the hidden, but there. So what's readying aphani poesis is the term that Nora Bateson uses. So what's happening unseen that we don't yet recognize. And so what I didn't, I connected to this struggle I'm having, especially with teams that I'm showing up for, of they want this conscious purpose. This, like, what are we doing? Set the agenda. And that linearity doesn't make space for the magic and the alchemy. And so this rewilding the childhood journey to adulthood came through for me as that's, even in my desire to, I wish I had had a big family that was woven together the way my friend's family was. That was almost too linear. I wasn't leaving room for the wild part that I want my grandchildren to maintain, and all children through education, because that's who's filling the seats in the boardrooms now, people who were once children and learned to stop believing in magic and co-creation and alchemy and the aspens. They get stronger by cutting themselves down. Thank you, Georgina. This was so lovely. Thank you.
Oh, Lisa, thank you so much, and Georgina for the journey. When I was listening to your beautiful storytelling, there was another image that came to me. The rewilding is the word you use, because I'm an educator, and I know very well the syndrome of the adults fix children or create for the children, I don't know, ideal spaces. But the adults need, first of all, to create spaces for themselves. So why? Because then it's something they think about. It's not something that really works for the children. So when you were saying this, I was thinking a journey from adulthood to transcendence for the adults as well. I mean, to learn how to transcend life. That makes sense what I'm saying. That if we don't create these spaces, the adults, for ourselves, we want to provide to the others or to the children, but we don't know. We're having So we are full of goodwill and good intentions, but it's not working. It's not working. Yeah, this is what I would like, somehow to walk this path and walk it in a realistic way, how we adults can grow and be able to die elegantly and to change dimensions in I just came from the hospital, that's why I'm into this. My mother was there for days, so I saw reality, what is what is life. And I'm so happy I'm here feeling you. Yes. Thank you. To go back to, just want to say this also. I went to the hospital twice this week, 4 days for my mother, spending a lot of time there. We just returned. And for my nephew, 3 years old. And the family of my brother, well-educated people, lawyer, his wife, my brother is an engineer, well-educated from high prestigious universities. They think the child is the problem. And they want to provide for the child. And it's so clear for everybody else that it's a systemic thing. And they have to, the adults need, come to my vision, the adults need healing. The adults need rewilding their lives to a greater dimension, vibration, spirituality, understanding. The children will follow. The children will vibrate along easily.
I'm mindful of we're at a crossroads and taking two paths. We can stay on the path we're on, or we can move to Simone was going to talk with us a little bit about our intention as a community working on spirituality and leadership. So I don't want to force us down one path if we want to stay on the one we're on, but we're at that place where we could make a decision.
Sorry, Bob, can you repeat? I'm sorry, there was a sound problem, sorry.
Yeah, we are at a point.
I heard the spirituality and leadership. What is the other direction?
We can stay on the path of the heart meditation and our thinking and our images and our thoughts, or we can move in the direction of the agenda where Simone was going to talk with us about our intention as a group. and take us on a little bit of an exploration of our intention. And he has to leave at 9 Eastern time, or I guess what would be 4 Central European time.
Yeah.
Simone, do you
I
want
would
to?
say Simone too.
Okay. Simone, do you want to take us?
Yeah. Can I just offer a real quick bridge, like inviting anybody else if there's something that was bubbling up that they want to share or put in the chat? But I'm also, Georgina mentioned Thomas Hubel, and I also was remembering happened this morning, this phrase that he has shared, that energy follows intention. Energy follows intention.
Thank you, Lisa.
So I'd say unless there's something that's bubbling up that you feel will help move us toward sort of that review of the landscape where we are. You know, I was also thinking about the Korzybski phrase, the map is not, a map is not the territory. So, but we do have a bit of a map to sort of orient ourselves at this moment that Simone can share. So unless there's something I say, we jump in.
I think we all agree to step into intention, and too often I forget about this sentence that energy follows intention, and how powerful are intentions, and my intention as well. Okay, so actually this so I have kind of 20 minutes, and we have two things together. So the intention is how to integrate manifesto with the stakeholder interview, and it would be helpful for the group. It was already, let's say, a need from last week to know something more about the stakeholder interview. So what is the status? But more than the status, what has been understood so far? Because actually the stakeholder interview will have a large part in the manifesto. That's one story. So then if I see let's say my wish will be also to know something about the stakeholder interview. So what has been understood so far. The other thing is that I was sharing this with Robert and Lisa and Georgina in a previous meeting that we had last week to organize this meeting. And it happened that there was a time, maybe 6 weeks ago till 2 weeks ago, started with Livio, where Livio shared an long email about many important points. And then there were other people replying to this email, and then I read them, so one by one, then I read them in a flow, so as it was a complete discussion. And then I thought, oh, here there are many elements for the manifesto. And then I started extracting elements from these emails and putting them into a framework that I thought for the manifesto. And then I came, so what emerged were 4 elements, which I would like to share with you to see if they resonate with you, and if there is something to add, something to remove, and if you like the structure that I thought the manifesto would have. Okay, so now we have once more a double path. So the path of briefly, so I would say 2 to 3 minutes discussion about the stakeholder interview and getting to know what has been understood so far, or the other path is stepping directly into the manifesto, and I can show you the framework that I thought. What do you think?
Can we hear briefly from Heiko on just where the stakeholder interview process is right now? Would that be 2 minutes, 2 minutes of that, Simone? Would that work? And then share your framework or your ideas about the manifesto?
Perfect. Yes, would be nice.
Heiko, do you want to take a couple of minutes and just summarize where we are at this point?
Yes, I can do that. So we did the coding, and four of us took the opportunity to analyze the codes and write paragraphs on the findings. And at the moment, we bring it together to make one paper out of it. And of course, it's a lot of editing so far. But we are in the process. I don't know how fast we can really conclude something. So it's very difficult at the moment to say, well, this is the findings or so, because sometimes it's a little bit heterogeneous, but it's very clear. I think one issue is indeed the talk about spirituality against striving, and this is different, or let's say that this is context dependent. So many of the respondents treat spirituality more as a personal issue and not as a, let's say, company issue or so. Yeah, that's one of the fields I think where we have a lot of findings.
Okay, thanks, Michael. Okay, good. So then I can. So you will see an image now that you will be surprised to see this image and say, "Oh, what is that? What is this form?" Okay, so so that's maybe it's nothing new, but it has a value. And the value that I had was that I didn't think of the U shape or the U path before thinking of the framework. So before I thought of the framework, then I thought, okay, it matches the U, the U journey. And so the things that I would like to, so I divided the manifesto into four sections. The first one is what we see. So observe. We know that on the left-hand side of the U, there is observe 3 times. Observe, observe, observe. Okay, so what we see. So if we are talking about the working place, and we did stakeholder interviews, I don't know, we had maybe 20, 25 interviewees, and then we got a lot of different information. Okay, so from our realities and from the people who we interviewed, what do we see? So then the first part would be creating in a very short term, so bullet points, all the things that we have seen and that we have heard from people and that we see in our environment. And then there is a need to letting go of these, of all these things that we observe, which are maybe negative things, or let's say old patterns, and letting go of it in order to let the new emerge, which is what is the future that we want to see. That means what is our intention? What is this future that we want to let emerge? And this is the second part. Then the third part is crystallize the vision, which means for me, so how would I crystallize the vision? Would be, let's say, expressing what is the why. So why we want to see the future that we want to see. What are the benefits for people? Because when we describe or define the future that we want to see, it's an image. It's like a vision. It's like something that is people would think, that's nice, that's nice. But then I want to make explicit the why, the urgency, in order that it resonates with people. When people will read it and say, this is the benefit. So this is what I'm going to, my advantage, the advantage that I'm going to receive out of a team or organization, a working place that will act according to what we want to see, and acting according to letting go of what we currently see. And then it comes the third part, which is prototype and iterate. So the how. Okay, so we see something, we want to see something, that's for this reason we want to see something, and then how can this be made real? And so these could be the first sections. Of course, there will be something that you can think better, add, adjust, and whatever. But then let's say, all this section contains small sentences that I took out of the emails. And my idea, so rather than reading them, my idea is to make this simple Google file available in order that everyone, also taking experience from the questions that you reply from the set of questions from Hilal, so that we can write bullet points. And then out of these bullet points, we can, let's say, make a summary and shrink it in order that it's really something short, concrete, and powerful. And okay, so let's see. Okay, last thing is that, of course, what we see comes from the stakeholder interview, as I told you. So then, of course, we can write things here because we have already experience, but there will be a big portion of it, maybe 50%, coming from what we heard from people. Okay. I stop sharing.
Simone, do you see the manifesto being the vision in that upward loop of the U? Is that formulating the manifesto, the vision and the manifesto are one thing or the same thing?
I think so. I know that it makes the thing very longer. I don't know if it makes sense to divide it and to make a separate thing, but I have some doubts about the how. If the how has to be there, but I also want to give I want to offer something that is concrete, where people, by reading it, can feel, okay, there is work that has been done here, and that can be used for in my working place, for example. But I also see that this framework can offer us the opportunity to write down all our thoughts, in a concrete way, what we didn't share because we were always on a different level, but this is really concrete. So then we have this shared file, and we can really write down things. And then once that we have many things written, then we can think, okay, maybe this section could be a separate section. But I think this helps us to keep the flow. So if we follow these 4 points, or maybe it could be 5 or whatever, this can help us in following a flow of ideas, of perceptions, intuitions.
Can I ask something, Simone?
Mm-hmm.
And I would like to ask everybody, what happened with Ilal's question? Have we all answered these questions? Because I find them very important as well, and also I think they are today's questions are more compact. But Hilal's questions, also they're very powerful, and they're there for so long. Can you raise the hand who has already? I know because I got into Sutra environment, and I saw Victoria, I think, Georgina, I don't remember, Hakim. I don't know but maybe some people answered and didn't upload because it's not also very easy, but
Yes, I answered and I didn't upload it. And I think to use our answers to Hilal's questions also for the manifesto. So it means you have already written things down there, and then you can take a portion of what we have written, so your answers, and put it into this into this other form, which is I would say a compact way of so not only compact. So I also have in mind the reader. So not only our group. So then I have in mind who is going to read it, who has to be attracted by what it reads. And this means it has to be also clear and somehow easy.
Mm-hmm.
I just put in the chat, I don't know if the hands are up to or that you answered. I have not answered yet, but I put in the chat, I feel that the manifesto is our invitation to others to journey with us, the prototype. We don't know where we're going. We don't have to. We don't have to have the answers. That's the old model or the old paradigm. But I think so much lately about the invitations.
Mm-hmm.
What's the invitation that can be safe enough to receive? And I think the other key point that I've been playing with is I'm finding secular words to talk about spirituality. I'm playing with ways to bring in the spiritual dimension, but it's not in language that someone would right away feel it's a religious way, or it has a lot to do with appreciation and characteristics in life that are, principles of life. Thank you.
Victoria, you had your hand up? Yeah. You're muted, Victoria.
Yeah, that is, I would like to mention that the you that Simone show us, I feel that we have a lot of answers from the interview, stakeholder interview, not just in the observe, but also in all the steps behind how. But we have found what we have to let it go of. I found a lot of answers there. That is, now we are compiling all of this. But I think all the process, what we can, the news that we can bring, or at least what works, maybe not the new, but it's part of, because what works to create this thriving workplace or environment. And I think we have a lot of answers in the stakeholder interview, not just in the first moment. Hope that we can edit everything in time to show everybody, to share with us. But I think that is very important part. And now I would like to add about what Christiana bring us about the Hilal questions. Maybe we can join all the answers from each questions, our answers together, so we can read all answers for the one questions, and then we can highlight what resonates. That is a practice between us, because we have to show it to others, so we can first see how it lands in us, the answer of all of us. So we have one question and read and all answers from each of us, and then we can comment or make what we love most or something like that, just to reflect on our answers in each questions. And I think we can do it in parallel with our interview. So because it takes time, but if you can put everything in a Google document, we can see and read and make our comments, something that resonates with us. Maybe could be, could be something that we can learn or about it.
Mm-hmm.
That's it.
Eiko? Okay.
Okay, so already doing the meditation, but now as an outcome of our discussion at the moment, I feel something to say. Well, what we are concerned with is no more a certain directedness. So there are a lot of movements occurring. One movement is, for example, from internal spirituality to external thriving. The other way around, perhaps from thriving to spirituality, that some people make it the other way around or so. Then let's say we are a cohort setting up this group, but we are already in the third circle now. Some people are leaving, some new people are coming in, maybe new people bring new ideas. The entire uLab process is, it's indeed a kind of organism, bringing something about where they perhaps also do not know which the directedness is or which the direction is. And I like that idea. I like that idea to be part of something which we don't know what it is. Maybe for some it's confusing, but I like that idea.
Thank you. And also just to summarize, so Victoria, you're suggesting that we try to make clear to everyone that to work on Hilal's questions, and then we try to assemble those into a Google Doc where we have all the responses and we can read those and then use those as part of our data along with the interview observations that we have. So we have, in essence, two sets of data about where we are right now. Did I understand you right? You're muted.
But I think we can, for example, put a question and all the answers in these questions, not bring together all our papers, but create a new one, and that's it. And then I think it could be powerful for us to make to understand better we have done what we are doing and have insights or reflections upon it.
Okay.
One thing, and then I need to leave. So the doubt that I have is how to combine what we are saying or seeing and so on as a group and what others are saying and seeing. That means from stakeholder interviews. I don't know if it makes sense to make a mixture of the two, or maybe to have a kind of two columns. So for the same question, two columns. So what we see and what
others
others see. Could be, but I don't know if then it complicates too much. Anyway, I put in the chat. I put in the chat the file I showed you, so that if you want to, can I do it? Maybe, let's see.
Yeah.
I know if you want to discuss more, you have also the reference.
Okay.
I think the common Google is for us, not for the stakeholders.
Yes.
Victoria's idea was a common Google form for the 10 of us, to 15 of us, not for the stakeholders. It's going to be very complicated. It's not.
It's kind of an assimilation of the.
It's only for us, the common Google form, right? Is that right, Victoria? This is what you propose.
I think we are talking the same. It's just for us.
What did you say about the stakeholders?
No, so we have three things now. So we have the stakeholder interviews, then we have the framework of the manifesto, and then we have the answers from Hilal's question. And then one decision that was proposed by Victoria is to place the questions that we have given to Hilal's question, the answers that we have given to Hilal's question on a single Word Google
document.
File. Okay. And in order that we can highlight patterns of things that resonates with us, things that that we believe that are important. And these things can be taken and placed into the manifesto structure together, together with other elements from the stakeholder interviews.
May I say something at this point?
Yes.
Okay, excuse me, I have to leave.
Yes. Okay, bye, Simone.
You, excuse me.
Maybe
you.
you'll watch the recording
you.
because what I wanted to say may be relevant for your thinking.
Okay, thanks.
Have a good day, Simone.
Thanks you. Thank you.
So what I wanted to say is that the manifesto, even the title suggests that it's a tool that communicates something to a larger external audience with the intention to make them think and act differently, at least to inspire them to do something differently. I think what Simone said, to take ideas from our answers to Hilal's questions and combine them with the research that Heiko is leading, I think it's a good idea. And one reason why I think it's a good idea is this one. If it is a manifesto, it is someone's or somebody's manifesto. So it has to represent us also, not just data from the research which captures ideas from others. It has to contain ideas from us if it's our manifesto. So we have to integrate them. I think it's enough for now. I had many other things, but I think it's enough for now. Thank you.
No, I think that was helpful.
I always think that the manifesto has to be some pillars that should be spirituality, or for example, the personal growth and leadership, and then we have to define the principles. And this is what we have to define. We have to get the conclusion of what are the principles that we want to create and present to the world. And the people who can join is who can commit with this principle that we have that emerge from all our discovery during this first process. And I think that is important. So it's not just to came here, so that is our manifesto, and then what the people are intend to commit with this or agree with this, so you can came and help us to evolve in this idea.
And also
Yeah.
maybe the idea of
Yeah,
a common
did you
Google
wanna-
form can apply to these questions, Simone's questions, to have a Google form and answer the questions. So have in each question all of the answers with our names in brackets. So have it all together, Victoria.
And yeah, and Joachim, is that sort of you put something in the chat. Did you want to say a little bit more about that? It
Yeah.
seems like there was an affirmation on your part of a way to.
Me?
Yes.
I like the idea to have a Google Doc and that everybody can write in. And I had the idea that this is also a co-creation thing. So we always talk about let's first make kind of an idea and then somebody who kind of finds out what's the right thing. But I like the idea to have kind of just a rough structure, just a space. And to let the process go, let everyone writes in and look what happens, what is the outcome, because that's a prototype in itself to not have a big plan, but maybe have an intention. What is the manifesto about, and with a common intention, and go for the process and let everybody write in. And I like the 4 pillars, the ideas that connect with you, and then just share it and start.
Okay.
And look what's the outcome, not plan the outcome, but prototype.
Would someone be, oh, Lisa, go ahead.
I just want to say that's what I've been feeling like. This is a co-sensing, right? It's a new way that we are co-sensing by going back into that document. And I love that, like I'm very aware when I talked before about noticing in some of the groups that are so focused on conscious purpose, they want structure. But I also know that the structures are crumbling, and this is when the processes between us are so important. So what Joachim was saying, I feel very resonant with that. Our story, like our process, is also the story. This is like kind of like we're creating these artifacts in new ways. So this conversation between the structure and the process is also the story. Like our journey, what we're doing is actually the story. Like we're creating this new structure, but it's held loosely, and
Yeah.
there's breath and space. So I like this commingling and combining that we're doing here, but that's also part of the prototype. Is we are constantly creating together, but with just enough structure, the least amount of structure necessary for the energy to flow.
Okay. I'm wondering, Georgina or Stephanie, did you have anything to contribute to that? Yeah, go ahead, Stephanie.
Hi, sorry. Thank you all. Thank you. I haven't got to speak yet, and I just want to acknowledge you all and being here. I wasn't at the last meeting, so thank you. Lisa, what you just said really resonated with me, and I've been reflecting a lot over just what this process is unveiling for me at a personal level, and just, what is it showing? What is happening? And meanwhile, I'm having these interactions with people in my life, just as life is. And the more I go on this journey and am in this journey, the more it becomes so clear to me where the rest of the world isn't on these journeys. And this ties back to the story. So what I've kind of been leaning into is this, whatever our story, like you said, what we're doing, almost it paints the new picture. It gives a new way. And I think like this visual of how to even start, how to even show up. And we need to go through that. We need to be in this process as we are. And so by, documenting, reflecting that is the work in and of itself. And to just be able to be in it is that unraveling. So it feels like we have these really solid pieces that are out there in space. And I agree with what I'm hearing from a lot of this group, like to start to let the energetic parts of it come together in a fluid way and not so formed, but that will reveal itself.
Thank you. Georgina, did you want to add anything to these reflections?
I don't really want to add anything. I just really like what Lisa said, and followed by Stephanie. This idea of following a process and not having a linear thinking as such, but personally and foremost connecting to what is it that is within ourselves now, and what is the meaning of this journey for us. And from this, the intention and our true purpose will reach its destination if we keep on showing up, to be present with each other, to be present with all of the information that we have. We continue to create. And this was the intention of the meditation that I had this morning, to really record and write down what is it that personally we feel, we see, we hear, we touch, we miss. And all of that combined together forms this very rich, dense soil that we can plant and use as a fertilizer for the future that we wish to create. So thank you.
Okay.
And Georgina, go ahead, Stephanie.
Just one more little analogy that came to mind. Something I'm doing with my daughter right now. She's 7. We do a lot of art together, and I recently have these blank books that I bought, and they're just white pages, and we'll, splash some color on a page and see what we create. And just, it's this like blob of red, and then we don't know what it is, and we just start to build from it. And it's reminding me of that a little bit, where it's like we have this book and there's like little splashes of color on it, and we start to see and create what that is going to be. And the bigger lesson here with my daughter is like we're creating it. We're creating this thing. We decide what this thing is. So I just thought of that too.
Thank you.
I
Lisa?
Yeah, thanks, Robert. So Georgina, I think it was you who shared was it in WhatsApp, the poems,
Mm.
Nora Bateson's poem that was, that ended with, what is it possible to communicate? And what is it possible to communicate? So it's not about what one person says or doesn't say and how that, that's what we're at in life and in organizations. It's not about the decontextualized forces where communication is now that is just dividing us. It's what is it possible to communicate? So, Stephanie, your story is beautiful. I also, heard a story about children painting candy canes, and there was supposed to be a fine white brush on the candy cane with red paint and then a fine white brush, how the nursery teacher introduced it. One boy painted the whole thing red, and she said, do you know what we're doing? He says, uh-huh. And then he took his finger and wiped away the paint. So he removed the red paint that revealed the white. When the teacher was telling the mother, when the mother came, she said, oh, this is what happened, and he did this. And of course the mother says, oh, he has trouble following directions, he's not listening. She said, no, he made this way, he made his way. And we were all like, wow. So I'm realizing how my work with children reveals everything. It's in the play and in the emergence, and what is it possible that we can be together. So thank you so much, Stephanie, for that.
Yeah. Liviu?
Thank you. I want to share a couple of reflections as a follow-up of what has been discussed so far. I think when we started the 2X program last year, it was mostly about going through the process, being guided by instructions that the core team received. And we went through a sort of abstract movement. And then the manifesto, the idea of a manifesto, when the 2X program ended, the idea of a manifesto and everything else that happened since, I think it kept us together in a way that otherwise would have dispersed the group. I think this is the most important thing that kept us together, just moving to a different platform, trying new things, looking for a new vision. There was something left unfinished, and by starting to think about the manifesto and answering the questions that Hilal suggested, I think it kept us on the journey. And what I realized later is actually the journey is all about ourselves, and it's also about the process of co-creation. What I'm sensing that we are now starting to think more consciously about is this: how do we ourselves get engaged into the process of co-creation, moving from studying how co-creation happens outside to how ourselves as individuals and as a group are going through this process of co-creation. And if at the end of this we will come up with a prototype, I think it will be about this, about collective decision-making, about collective co-sensing, not just theory, but practice at an individual and group or collective level.
Mm. Thank you.
May I?
Maria? Yeah, go ahead.
So I would like to thank you, Georgina, for the meditation today, that I think that is very powerful for us. And due to that, we can merge a lot of things here. And I think that we can go away from our limit physical space into this heart energy. So we transcend our limit, that is the spirituality. We go beyond our limit body, so we can feel that energy of inside of us, and we can share it. And I think that is came this kind of idea, so to put everything in a document as this is storytelling about us. We see our answers from these questions is the way that we can have a how can I say a thread that link our journey. So that is in a way that we can tell our history, our story, and then we can a lot of things will emerge from that when we put all this together. And I think that is the answer. That is the root for the manifest. For I don't know, we will discover it when we start to do. And also it's also powerful because we can do it in silence, because we can join in a document, because I think the power of the silence that we have today, this 30 minutes of silence, that is the power, the wisdom of the silence. So we have this space as well to let our history emerge and everything emerge from us. And I think that we can combine this. And during this time, I think by the end of the February, maybe we can finish our editing from the stakeholder interview, and we can have this or at the beginning of March or something like that. So we have this time to reflect upon these things, and maybe we have this time to finish the other part, and we can see all together or how it can unfolding, and maybe that could be some steps for the manifesto for I don't know, so what will emerge from that.
So it's 9:25. We have a few more minutes left. Let me just see if I can summarize what I'm hearing and then affirm whether my summary is accurate or add to it. I'm hearing that there is agreement that we want to produce some kind of document, call it a shared Google Doc, in which we somehow structure a way of assimilating the information we have, stakeholder interviews, that is what we see from the other, what the other sees, something about what we see, which will come from our answers to Hilal's questions, maybe some column that represents sort of some of the vision elements of what we see that can become part of the manifesto. So this document would be a way of pulling together the different things that we're observing right now, where we are today. And that would be a kind of springboard for the uLab 2024, which will start in a couple of weeks. And we could share this meeting and the video from this meeting on Sutra and let others participate in seeing what we've talked about. I'm also thinking that what we might want to do, since not everybody has answered Hilal's questions, is take her questions and put them on Sutra and ask people to be sure that they've written short responses to those questions and upload them to Sutra, just as one more reminder to get that piece done. Does that sort of summarize what we've talked about?
Could you try again?
Sorry, that was
I can hear.
Yeah. Does that summary feel like it's reasonably accurate?
Mm-hmm.
And I think
And
we
if
have
you
some.
have problem, you
I
have
think we-
problem to put in Sutra, please send to me and I can upload in Sutra if someone, or even if the link from the record from the interview.
Right. Okay. And we'll use Simone's framework as a kind of guide for what the Google Doc will look like. I can assemble that and put it into an email for everybody so that people who didn't come will be targeted to go to Sutra and finish the questions, they can look at the video. And the one thing we haven't done in this meeting is talked about some procedural things like meeting structures and that. Can I suggest that I, in the email, offer some possibilities for what the meeting structure and things can look like as we come to the next couple of weeks when we have the first uLab 224 full group meeting? Is that okay?
Please.
Okay, I'll put that in there and ask for any feedback. Any
May I
last
suggest
minute?
something, Robert?
Oh, yes, go ahead.
A bit more clarity, perhaps, with regards to which questions should we ask from the questions that Hilal suggested us. I think we have recorded in the past. I don't know exactly if we should, those that participated in the past, if we should answer them again.
The same answers.
The problem is that answers shift. If you answer them today, you answer based on a set of circumstances. If you answer them 1 week later, they won't be the same.
I shift mine too.
So first
This
of all,
is so
are all
difficult
questions
with
to
you.
be all the questions suggested by Hilal are to be asked, or just some of them? This is maybe the first question.
I think that you're right. There was some suggestion that there were 3 or 4 of her questions that were the most important to ask. So maybe we can just in putting those out to people to be sure they've done it, we can highlight the 3 or 4 that everyone said were the most important ones. Is that what you're suggesting?
I was asking because I didn't know if we should ask again all questions or only some of them. But if you know which are the ones that were considered to be the most important, it might be useful if you could specify them when you send the email.
Yeah, I don't remember them exactly. I know they were in one of our meetings. There was a suggestion of what they were. I don't know that they've been recorded in the chat or anything. So we'd have to unearth that and see if we can discover what they were.
There
Maybe
is in an email.
it was in an email.
I
Victoria,
think yeah, I can looking for it.
okay, if you can find it and then maybe just forward it to some of us, then I'll try to assemble it in my email.
I just want to show you my picture from the feeling I have today in the meditation. Love and yeah.
Thank you.
What's on the lower part, Victoria?
The lower part is
it water
the
or what?
truth. No, it's not the water. It's like a flower. It's the truth, the soil that is from what is emerging our heart space, our true, our we move to ours, not to our space, and that is that is something that is holding and the soil, and it's emerging. Something's open. We don't know what is it. And
I
that
want
is
to add
what
one more thing. Georgina guided us through a meditation today. One of the things that I wrote down to the question, a picture of greatness for us, the greatness of the vision of the future, and how do you know we have arrived there? I didn't get a picture, I got a feeling, and the feeling is about us becoming a sort of support group, like developing psychological safety, trust, and much more, like becoming into a sort of support group into the future. And maybe even using the process of coaching circles as a tool for ourselves whenever each one of us may need some, let's say, support through the coaching circles.
Oh, that's so beautiful, Livio.
Thank you.
I would like to share also something. I think that this idea about coaching circle us, like providing space for each one of us to really see and through questions to open this relation with observing and facilitator, and I think this is very powerful as well, and we shouldn't leave it aside as an idea. It was said 2 meetings ago, remember? And I think we should bring it in, Robert, if you can also somehow, I don't know when and how, but including somehow, yes. And about power, very short, briefly, I want to say something. Up in the hospital, my power of influencing and how I was feeling weak. This is what I want to share. Because when you said that, Liv, you really, I was giving blood. I had to give blood. And in this room, there was news playing with all this catastrophe and da 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 da. Da. So the doctor told me, what would you like? Because I want you to be relaxed. What would you like to? And I said, please, can you change the news and put some good music, like relaxed music, so I can relax and my blood will be and can be a healing blood. So I don't know, the doctor liked it so much. So when I left, he said, thank you so much. We'll keep it this way.
Okay.
We'll take out, I want to follow the, so we will stop putting news and we'll put music, sounds, relaxing sounds and everything. So that day that I was checking the section and I was listening this, but then the next day, news again. And I didn't have the courage because there was other doctors.
Yeah.
They changed they were not the same one because it's 24 hours, different stuff. I didn't have the strength to go and propose and I realized that and I said, I don't have the strength yet to influence the system. Because I was feeling they will laugh at me.
Mm.
And what you said, Livio, because then the doctor asked me and I proposed. So what you said is so important. And this is what I wanted to, yes.
I'm seeing it's a little after and we're losing people. So let's, is there any last minute thought or closing thought that someone has?
I just want to express great appreciation for you, Robert, for holding us and reminding the important points in the chat and that loose, strong way you have that, that allows the space. I want to thank Georgina for this gorgeous process of opening other doors of perception and other ways. And I want to appreciate Simone for his strength and that same balance of open structure. And to everyone here, I'm wishing Heiko safe travel to build the playground for the children, the play space. And to everyone here, thank you so much. Georgina has something in the chat, but I just want to appreciate this really spectacular new way of being together. Everything everyone mentioned who had to leave and is still here. Thank you.
Thank you, Lisa, for that. Appreciate you. Thank you. Thank you, everyone. Okay, we'll look out for the email and we'll continue the journey that we're on and continue building the process that we're constructing. Thank you.
Our strength and our power, personal power and collective, and
Right.
our group's strength. Thank you so much, all of you.
Yeah,
11 kind wishes.